All right, Larry Krueger here at Levi's Stadium after training camp practice number 10 with a little instant reaction after practice. All right, well, today was a really hard practice. It's a hot day today. As you can tell behind me, the sun is shining. It's really bright down here in Santa Clara today. And just it was a lot of reps, long practice, hard practice. Was not an easy practice by any stretch. But I think today is a perfect example of why you don't look at camp stats and make determinations on how the quarterbacks are playing. If you look at Brock Purdy's stats, his stats don't look good. He was 7 of 16 with 3 touchdowns in the red zone, 1 rushing touchdown, and he also threw a pick 6 on a ball that Dre Greenlaw tipped up into the air. Tayshaun Gibson picked it off and ran it back the other way. So if you look at Purdy's stats, like up front, you're like, oh, he didn't have a very good day. But he was 4 of 5 in the red zone, and the guy made great play after great play all day long. Give you an example, Purdy on a play-action sideline pass just threw an absolute dime to Ray McLeod. It was just an absolute beautiful pass. Another play Purdy made was just a really nice pass to Jennings on the sideline in front of Charvarius Ward, and just threw a perfect pass to Charvarius and completed that one. That was a really nice out pass. He also had a really nice play where he scrambled and found George Kittle, and that was a play that was basically a dead play, and then he found Kittle after scrambling around. Then one of his incompletions, he threw a perfect fade pass to CMC on the far sideline, and CMC just didn't turn his head. It was right there on his hands, perfect pass, and it was an incompletion. Another one, Purdy threw a flat-out dime to Debo. Debo just dropped it, just flat-out dropped it. There was another play where Danny Gray, on an out route, Purdy put it right on his hands. Danny Gray just dropped it. So you look at those numbers, 7 of 16. He easily could have been 11 of 16 with 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns passing and 1 rushing touchdown. And the pick, you can sit there and say, well, he threw a pick 6, but really what it was Greenlaw just got a hand on it, hit it up into the air, and it popped into the arms of Tayshaun Gibson, who ran it back. So, on the day, you see 7 of 16, that's a low completion percentage, and the pick 6, and you go, it wasn't a good day. But in reality, Purdy could have gone 11 of 16, 4 of 5 in the red zone, and he was clearly the best quarterback on the field today. By contrast, Sam Darnold, you look at his numbers, and you think, hey, Sam Darnold wasn't bad. He was like 5 of 9. He threw a touchdown. But he also threw an interception, except the interception was dropped. So, it was, Sam Darnold had one play where, he threw a ball that should have been picked by Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, who had already intercepted Lance, and Flannigan-Fowles just dropped it. So, for Darnold, you look at those numbers, 5 of 9, the dropped in, and 1 touchdown, you're like, hey, it looks pretty good. He actually looked really bad today. Darnold looked confused. He held the ball way too long. There was 1 penalty with an illegal men downfield because he didn't get rid of it in time, and the offensive lineman moved downfield. The officials threw the flag on that. So, Darnold's numbers look okay, and he didn't have a great day. Purdy's numbers don't look very good. He had a great day. Lance, on the other hand, had a really rough day. He was 3 of 7. He took 3 sacks. He threw an interception that was right to Demetrius Flannigan-Fowles, and he almost threw a second interception that A.J. Parker just dropped. So, Lance had a rough day. Allen was 3 of 4 in limited reps. He barely played today. But overall, that's why you can't trust camp stats. At the end of the day, camp stats are pretty much worthless. Because you got to be here and you got to see it. You got to see it for yourself. Now, there were some things that were important today. Drake Jackson on a Debo end around, I believe, got up limping, and nothing was made of it. I didn't see him after that. I don't think it's anything too serious, but he definitely got up and wasn't moving too well. Marlon Davidson left practice early. I have no idea why he left practice early, but he did. Juwan Jennings was seen with a trainer stretching his hamstring on the sideline, so it looks like maybe either he cramped up or he had some kind of a hamstring issue. Brandon Ayuk wasn't out there today. He sat out practice, a rest day for Ayuk. On a good note, some of these backup defensive linemen are starting to come of age. Alex Barrett, Spencer Wagee, Taco Charlton all looked really, really good again in the one-on-ones. Austin Bryant and Kerry Hyder both had sacks and were getting penetration into the backfield. Bryant had a couple pressures that I saw. It's hard to differentiate between what's a pressure and a sack in a practice setting because they don't actually, the play continues. But Bryant definitely got into the backfield a couple times. And then it was obviously a great day for Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles. He had the one interception that he got the second one that he dropped, but he was in position to make plays both times. There was a great moment late in the practice where Ty Davis-Price, who's having a great camp, had an extended run right down the sideline, and then Jair Brown gave him a real pop at the end, and the two of them kind of went nose to nose and had some words there at the end. It was brief. It was good-natured, but, man, there's some good competition going on there. We did see, on a positive note, Jalen Moore return to practice. That was good. Aaron Banks is still in concussion protocol, so Banks is still not out there doing his thing. This is a good and a bad, but, Taco Charlton is getting first-team reps right now, and that's how thin the 49ers are at defensive end. And I mentioned it to the guys on the radio on 95.7 The Game, Matt Steinmetz and Evan Giddings, that, man, the 49ers' number one issue is their second and third team defensive ends. I mean, they lost Ebukam and Amenahue and Jordan Willis. They lost 1,300-plus snaps, and they're replacing them with guys that I don't think are nearly as good. And now Charlton comes in off the street, and he's already getting first-team reps with, at defensive end. Now, there's no Nick Bosa, and Drake Jackson got dinged up a little bit, so maybe that's part of it. But, that's how thin. A guy who got off a plane 3 days ago is now taking first-team reps at defensive end. That's a major problem from where I'm sitting. The Niners have a deep group of linebackers. That's pretty clear. And, I was talking to Dave Lombardi before practice, and I was going over my 53-man roster because I got here a little early today, and I just think Winters and Graham and Marcelino are all going to make it. And I just think that with obviously you've got Greenlaw and Warner, there's a very good chance that the Niners trade one of their linebackers, I would think, before the August 29th trade deadline. They do save a couple $1 million if they move Warren Burks, so that's something to look for. Burks is playing well out here, but when the Niners go to Vegas at the end of the week and they play the Raiders, Burks might be the Raiders' best linebacker, and he's a special teamer on this team. So, that just tells you the difference in talent level at linebacker for these two teams. Some good linebacker is either going to get cut or traded by the Niners. But good day today for Austin Bryant. Good day today for Cleveland Farrell. He had a tackle for a loss against Christian McCaffrey. Not a great day for Danny Gray. He had a drop, and then at the end of practice in the red zone drill, Brock Purdy, wanted Gray to continue on his route. Instead, Purdy took the sack and kind of yelled at Gray for not running the right route, or at least not continuing his route. And Danny Gray is a young receiver, and he looks young on the practice field. So there you go. There's your instant reaction for training camp practice number 10. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And thanks to all you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.